Hey, what's up, guys? So let's dissect another contest. Okay, whose contest this time? Mine. What? You held a contest, Jason? Yes, I did. Traitor! Hang on. It's not what you think. So I'm on the internet, right? And I run across this website that was student filmmakers, and I see them talking about the industry, and I'm like, this is incorrect. And so I'm like, should I just push past this and just, whatever? Or should I say something and try to help them? And I'm like, I can't help myself. So I sign up and I jump on and say, hey, that's incorrect. It works like this. Okay, just so you know. All right, later, guys. And, and then they're like, how would you know, man? And I'm like, well, because, it was my wife at that time. I said, my wife is a big agent at one of the biggest agencies there is. That's how I know. And they're like, this guy's a troll, dude. Fakester, liar. I'm like, no, this is the truth, dude. Okay? That's how it works. And so I find myself getting like sucked into their conversations and shit, over time. And, over time, most of them were like, I don't know, man. Like, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. Like, I think we should give him a chance, dude. And, over time, then finally, like, they jumped me into the little squad. Like, all right, dude, like, fuck, thanks for the information, dude. And then, this is like 12 years ago, by the way. But there's one kid in there who's like, man, fuck this guy. Fuck you. He's saying this to me. He's super skeptical. Man, fuck this guy, dude. I don't trust this dude. And I'm like, I like this kid. He reminds me of somebody. Who could that be? So, over time, then later, I'm like, you know what? I want to hold a contest for these student filmmakers, and and I go to my ex and say, I want to hold a contest for them, and she's like, I'm not reading a bunch of scripts, no way. And I said, no, I will read all the scripts and I'll narrow it down to 3, the top 3, and then I give you that, and then you do for the runners-up, 2 runners-up, 1 winner. The runners-up, you give them an hour call each, and for the winner, you do a meeting, 1-hour meeting. Can you do that for the youngsters, please? And she's like, I'm like, give back, and she's like, okay, fine. So so I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna hold this contest. Here's what's gonna go down. Here's the rules, all this kind of shit. Send me your shit. So boom, I'm hit with like 50 scripts. I read them all. What was the entry fee, by the way? 100% free, $0. Okay. So I read them all and I narrow it down. And by the way, this kid that is telling me to fuck off all the time. I'm like, why don't you enter, man? What do you got to lose? So he's like, fucking whatever, fine. There you go, dude. And then so I read all these. I narrow it down to my top 3. I give them to my ex. I don't say who I think is in the lead. And she reads them and she says, this is the one. Guess who it is? It's the kid who's telling me to go fuck myself. He did a gay themed. He's not gay, but he did a gay themed script. Before it was cool to be into LGBTQ and support that, he was going there. He was 23 at this point, and so I tell him, hey man, you won. And he's like, dude, come on, dude, this is fake, right? I'm like, no, it's real, dude. So I said, yeah, you got a meeting, dude, with one of the biggest agencies on the planet and with the big agent, okay? So come down on this day and I'll take you over there, okay? And here's my address and come. And so he does. He's up in San Francisco, by the way. So he comes down and, you know, gets to my house and he's like, oh shit, this place is dope, dude. You know, like, holy shit. And I'm like, great, let's go. We gotta go, okay? And so I'm living like a couple blocks over from CA at that point and to the west. And so we get there, you know, I pull up and then he's like, oh shit, like looking at the Death Star, but still like, is this real, dude? Am I getting punked? You know, is this a prank or something? And I'm like, jump out, dude. And he's like, don't you gotta park your car? I'm like, no, dude, they have valet, okay? He's like, what? They just take your car away? I'm like, yes. And so we jump out and I forget the name of the valet, Miguel maybe, I forget. But I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey, good to see you, bro. And I'm like, hey, how's it been? He's like, good, small talk. And then, so he's like, oh shit, maybe this is real, you know, the kid. And so we jump in to the agency and, you know, we pass the receptionist's desk and I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm taking them up. And they're like, all right, cool. And how you guys, you know? And they're like, yeah, we're good. And so, you know, I show them around a little bit. Like, yeah, there's the screening room. There's another one. And he's like, they have movie theaters in there, dude? I'm like, basically. I'm like, see that little dome right there? That's for like power meetings and shit. He's like, oh shit. And just looking around like, what the fuck? And so we go up in the elevator and there was an agent on there. I forget who it was. I think it might have been Brian Cibarel. And it's like, hey, Jason, how you doing? He's known as like 007 because of the way he dresses. And he's like slick. How you doing, man? And I'm like, yeah, good. You here for a meeting? I'm like, no. I'm taking him for a meeting. I held a competition for some young filmmakers and so forth. So I'm taking him to meet my ex. You know, he's like, oh great, nice. You know, Tyler, this is and he's like, oh, nice to meet you, Tyler. And boom, you know, leaves and we get out and I'm like, that was this person. They represent them. And he's like, what, really? Yeah. And so we're walking down the hallway and I'm saying what's up to the assistants, you know, because I know that, you know, they're all sitting out front of the offices. And they're like, hey, what's up, Jason? What's up? I'm like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope your day's good, you know. They're like, yeah, just chilling, you know. Not really. They're working hard. And so I'm like, yeah, this agent represents them, you know. I'm just giving like the list. This agent represents these people. Agent walks past us. I'm like, they represent, you know, these people. And he's like, what? Dude, those are my heroes, bro. And so then we turn in to my ex's office, you know, and say what's up to the assistant out front. I think it was Becca at that point, which you know, she was like, all the guys were like, oh my God, she's so hot, you know, and she came to my parties and shit. She's cool. So we get inside my ex's office and she's like, nice to meet you, Tyler. Go ahead and have a seat. And I told him before this, get your list together of the questions you want to ask, okay? And she's like, have a seat. And by the way, these competitions that make you pay, these contests that make you pay, they say, we're gonna put you in front of agents. My competition was 100% free, and I took him by the hand inside the agency and set him right down in front of an agent, okay? And so she tells him about like the industry, like this is what CAA does, blah 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 blah. And she's like, do you have any questions for me? And I could see, boop, all his questions just evaporated. I could tell he's like a deer in headlights and just is fucking frozen. And I'm like, maybe you probably have a question, like probably like something like this, right? You know, like being the intermediary, like intermediate, whatever the word is. I can't say it right now. You know, trying to be the liaison to help him like get through his meeting, because I knew if I sent him alone, he's gonna be like, I don't even know where to go, this kind of shit, and I don't know what to say, and so I was trying to help him through the meeting and so forth, and boom, so we do the whole meeting, and at the end of it, you know, we leave, and I say, what'd you think of that, dude? And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, that was real, dude. I'm like, yeah, I told you it was. So since that time, you know, we kept in touch, and I, you know, mentored him and shit, and you know, we would talk and shit, and you know, I would have parties, and I would tell him, come down, dude, I'm having a party. Be ready, dude. There's gonna be directors, producers, agents, all this kind of shit, you know, so be ready, man. And for that. And so it was like, yeah, you know, and yeah, so he went to a bunch of my parties, and you know, when I would go up to San Francisco, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna be in town. He's like, hey, let's grab drinks, man. I'm like, yeah, right on. So, you know, over time, you know, at this point, I've known him for 12 years, like I said. And he told me, like, you're the one, and he's told his mom about me, like, yeah, Jason, blah, 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 and you know, his ex, blah, 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 like, they really, like, helped me and shit. So I've known him for 12 years at this point. And what makes me think of this is he texted me the other day, and he's like, I'm gonna be in town. And I said, on these dates, I'm like, I might be around, I might be in Mexico, but if I am, come stay with me, dude, you know? And he's like, yeah, for sure, man. So this is a kid that was telling me to go fuck myself, you know, 12 years ago. And now he says to me like, well, let me show you this first. So now he's sending me Christmas cards, okay? This is his Christmas card, can you see it? The cat, Star Wars, the cat DeLorean. So he has a couple little kitties that are his, and his Christmas cards are very, you know, you know, well done. And so I save them. And he says to me now, like that's crazy. Like back in the day, I was telling you to go fuck yourself, and then, you know, then I was like, once I saw this shit, I was like, holy crap, man. Then I was kind of like intimidated. But at this point, I just consider you a friend, you know, and we're just friends at this point. Now he's like 34 or something like this, 33 or something. And so, you know, and then he says to me somewhat recently, like, man, you fucking changed my life, dude. So that means a lot to me, and he probably changed my life more, you know. So the point there is that this is nothing new to me, like trying to help writers. It isn't. And ultimately, you know, my goal is to like help at-risk kids who were like me when I was a kid, who are like, fuck the world, fuck these people, I don't trust them, I'm skeptical. Those are the kids I'd want to work with. Okay? So I gotta end this. So that's kind of it. I'm just saying this is nothing new to me to try to help writers. Okay? And I'm very glad I met this kid, because now he's a dear friend of mine. So that's it. Later, guys.